Good morning, it's March 7th, 2022. This is To My Liberal Friends, and I'm John Haddo. The American public is crying out for leadership, and unfortunately, they're not getting it from the White House. The price of oil is approaching $120 a barrel on the U.S. market, and even higher with the Brent price. Gas prices in this country are rising at a rate unseen in our history. The average price of gas is now over $4 a gallon, and some say it could approach $5 in the near future. So what is the solution from President Biden? He begs the Saudis to increase their oil production. He turns to Venezuela, not exactly an ally of the United States, to increase oil production, and even says the Iranians should produce more. But what about increased production here in the United States? How about lifting some of the restrictions you put in place at the beginning of your administration? Allow drilling on public lands where oil is available. Allow drilling in Alaska where there are proven reserves. Stop the attack on fossil fuels. But Joe Biden cannot do these things because he is captive to the far left on climate control issues. If climate change is a world problem, why would it be okay to produce more oil in Saudi Arabia, in Venezuela, and Iran, but not in the United States? That's kind of a conundrum he doesn't have an answer for. It's similar to him shutting down the Keystone pipeline that ultimately would have delivered 800 barrels of oil a day to U.S. markets, but giving the initial okay to Nord Stream 2 pipeline in Europe, only to be forced to cancel it under pressure because of the Russian invasion. But there's some kind of hypocrisy there. Even Elon Musk, the world's largest producer of electric cars, or at least one of the largest, is now saying we need to drill for more oil in the United States. He said it might not support his business model, but something that people of this country need to prevent future situations like the one we're in now. We cannot become beholden to foreign sources for anything. In a recent poll, over 75% of the public said it was time to put sanctions on the Russian energy sector and to halt buying Russian oil. But Joe Biden waffles on this. Congress is saying stop buying Russian oil. Even his chief apologist, Nancy Pelosi, can read the polls. She's saying stop buying Russian oil. But Joe Biden hesitates on taking this action. The reason why? Nobody seems to fathom why. And then we come to the situation in Ukraine. As early as last year, we saw Russia massing huge numbers of military forces along the border of Ukraine and Russia. What did Biden think they were there for? Putin has been very clear that he wants to annex Ukraine back to Russia. We had a chance to send military arms to Ukraine, but Biden hesitated. He delayed the actual authorized shipments. Finally, we are sending them the Stinger and Javelin missiles they need, but it may be too little and too late. They need them, and they needed them yesterday. That same poll I mentioned showed overwhelming support, 70% plus, for enforcing a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Without air support, Russian troops will become increasingly vulnerable. It's springtime in Ukraine, and so this massive armor convoy we see outside of Kiev has to stay on roads, and that makes them sitting ducks for any attack. To get off the roads means they'd be stuck in a quagmire of mud. At the United Nations, the United States offered a resolution condemning the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Both China and India abstained. The Chinese are playing the long game and seem to have colluded with Russia and Putin. He delayed his invasion until after the Olympics. Nations would have left immediately had it done it. In exchange, Chairman Xi fails to condemn Putin's actions. This is a country that has long said you need to respect sovereignty. National sovereignty is absolute. Then we have India. They abstain as well. Now, they get a lot of their military equipment from Russia, so they try to sit on the fence. But we do a lot of trade with India, and now's the time for President Biden to inform them that without their affirmative vote, there will be repercussions. Biden loves to claim that he's using diplomacy. But in reality, diplomacy is a tool in the box, but it is not worth anything if it's not backed by military strength. And in those situations, your diplomacy becomes nothing more than hot air. So, Mr. President, time to insist the MiG-29 fighters from Poland be immediately sent to Ukraine. They're trained to fly them. We can replace the Polish Air Force with American planes. Support the no-fly zone. Get arms to the Ukrainian fighters. Bring the hammer down on countries that try to sit on the fence. increase our own oil production, and do it now. Show some leadership and quit cowering before the ultra-left in this country. Just take a look at the polls. The American people are crying out for a strong leader, and unfortunately, you are coming up short. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.